Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Good day.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good to be here.
Good night.
Good day. Goodness.
Yeah, Loch Ness. Oh, so quick.
Don't know what on earth I was going to say then.
I have to confess to the listeners and the viewers that we had a false start where I forgot to start the video, and we'd already started a game of Loch Ness, and I think Benji was on course to win. But then, you see,
it happens, doesn't it? The instigator, isn't it? The instigator's advantage, which is which sounds like a good old film, doesn't it? This is the Benji and Nick Show, your number one show for vintage television.
I should have said that was the Loch Ness game. It's not about Loch Ness and it's not a game. Carry on.
Vintage television. And you paused me, you see. So we look at TV from the past, TV you might remember, TV you might want to forget. We look it up, give it a little review, and see if it's actually worth you bothering, quite frankly. What are we covering this week, Nick?
Well, this week, by the way, I'm not Benji, as you gathered from.
Oh yes,
Benji
and
comment.
I'm not Nick. God, it's all pear-shaped, isn't it?
Ah, it's literally
shaped like a pear.
We are dealing with Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD, which is a film, of course, based on a bit of cult television. Again, because we reviewed it ages ago, didn't we? It was like our first or second podcast.
I think we bundled them into sort of one big Dalek-based bonanza, didn't we? But this time we're going at it again because our special guest reviewer, Shelley Dean, she'll be giving us her I've never seen this before review, which is really interesting because obviously, we know this film like the back of our hands. We've seen it so many times. Nice hands, very nice. We've seen it, so many times, but for her, she hasn't. So, be really interesting to see if she thinks it's better than the first film, which it is, or not. Quite frankly,
we're completely open-minded about it.
Yes, absolutely, of course.
The thing is, we thought she'd watched it the other week, didn't we? And she hadn't quite got that we were hinting that we should have just said. So now that's why we decided to, revisit it. Our dear friend Jamie Anderson may or may not be turning up. No idea. No, actually, we'll probably get him on. I'll get him on FaceTime on my phone.
He's on the road, isn't he? So he'll be around and about somewhere. Maybe we'll catch him at Esso.
Yeah.
Little Chef.
Do they still have those Little Chefs?
We've already covered this on a podcast long ago that there is one Little Chef.
But it may have changed since then. They don't have them.
I don't know.
Roadside cafes. By the way, in a moment, your email sent to while Benji checks that importance up to the minute news. Little Chef or not. In a moment, your email sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. But first, a huge thanks to all of you out there
in the gnome world. Yeah, thank you so much for getting involved with that and joining in
Patreon.
And pledging your money to us and for all the extras and bits and bobs, which we'll describe later on with Shelley. But honestly, there's loads and loads of stuff for you to get your grubby little protuberances on.
Yes. I've just seen a thing here that I've completely miswritten. I said, you are your patrons. I mean, you are our patrons.
How very profound.
And we're so grateful to you. So thank you very much. Your support will make it possible for us to offer you more and more great stuff.
Absolutely. And as well as that, there's a little Discord group which is starting. We've already getting a few people in there. The goal with that is to provide a place for all of you cult telly fans to talk to one another, because that's a lovely thing to do as well, and recommend shows and get to the nitty gritty of it all. So it's pretty cool, really.
I just wonder whether I could look at it now and see if anyone's on there.
We could try. So,
we could try. I don't think I've got it open, have I?
Oh no, that's Discogs. That's a whole different application for records. Discord. Here we go. It's very exciting, isn't it?
No, I haven't got a.
Well, I was talking in the Enterprise Bridge, which is the Star Trek section, about Star Trek Discovery. The Doctor Who section is we're talking all about Time of Victorious in there. Lots of bits and bobs there, as well as Stranded 2, Big Finish release there. All sorts of stuff. Did you know, here's an interesting thing, Nick, that you might have missed, that, in the Sontaran experiment, Did you know that one of the Galsec colonists in there was played by Glyn Jones? Glyn Jones, of course, who was the writer of the Space Museum.
Yeah, I knew all that.
Yeah, I thought you might. You never know, but it's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one. Yeah, I think someone wrote in to... didn't they send an email in about that? I don't know. Also, we've already got a great range of merchandise.
Yes, we got T-shirts galore, and we've been quite on it as well when people in the comments on the Facebook have seen the T-shirts, bits and bobs, and said, "Oh, you should get this." Goes straight into the machine and comes out the other end ready to be worn. So we're updating.
Go to nicholasbriggs.com to find them. Now let's have a go to nicholasbriggs.com, Benji. Let's have a look.
I promised a few people one person on our Facebook that we wouldn't go on about all this too much, but it's good to go on about.
Did you? Why did you promise that?
Because it puts people off. Apparently, it's us hard selling all the stuff. But
does it really? Is that what someone said?
Well, put somebody off, but you can skip forward.
You just go to the Benji and Nick show thing at the top, and there you are.
There you are. And we've got two stores as well. We've got the Benji and Nick show, and this, for the T-shirts and bits and bobs, we've got a US shop and another shop as well, so everybody can access T-shirts all around from, there's two different hubs to send out to all different countries. We've got loads of shirts. We've got a Benji and Nick and Shelley and Jamie shirt. We've got Benji and Nick show mugs. We've got Loch Ness shirts. We've got
stop that one you designed.
Works a treat. You've got the whole Loch Ness game on a shirt there. Although I recommend that it's a good way to start off the game, but be careful when wearing it when instigating a Loch Ness game, for you might inadvertently give people the upper hand in the game. You don't. Oh yeah. If you're doing
they could just read the answers off you.
Exactly. And provided they read it in the right way, you might get a win or a lose. There's a stop don't move shirt.
Wear it inside out.
That's clever. Yeah. What's that down there? Oh yes. Goodness. No. There's a stop don't move shirt. Stop don't move. Which you can get on there.
My favourite is I'm Ian Bannon.
I'm Ian Bannon.
I predict that no one will buy that.
But even then, that's fun within itself. I can't wait, once all this pandemic's over, I can't wait for us to do a live soiree to see how many people pop up in these shirts. You can get quite on a shirt, or the cakes, or even That's How Time Works, or just a Benji Nick Show shirt. There's loads of stuff. Get on it. We'd love to see it.
My wife Steph, she's arranging for all this to be done, and she keeps asking me what they mean, or why is this right? Stop, don't move. What's the point of that? So I have to explain to her all about it at the end of episode 3 of Death to the Daleks, while she looks at me very bored.
But that's part of the fun.
If you're a patron, by the way, chances are you get a discount on these items. And frankly, anything else available at nicholasbriggs.com. There are all sorts of things at nicholasbriggs.com. Hard sell. There are books, CDs, DVDs, ebooks, e-plays, photographs, and prints. So, and I'll sign any of those other things. I can't sign the T-shirts because they're coming straight from a manufacturer.
We'll get the manufacturers to sign it instead.
Yeah, sign it with their name.
From Hull. There we go.
We'll be talking. We'll be giving you some shout outs to our new patrons, as is your right as a new patron, later in the show when Shelley joins us. And we'll be talking in more detail about the benefits of your joining us on Patreon, even though that's hard sell. Sorry. I feel like I've really offended someone. Now your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. You can see me reading on the computer.
Very clever.
What? Shall I do the David Tremont one?
Yeah, why not? Hello, David.
Hello, David. Hello.
Hello.
The subject is Daleks.
Daleks. Yes, the Daleks. Darlings. The starlings. Up there, in the sky. Stop it, Peter. You've gone mad. He's lost the plot.
Probably like that footage, that extra footage of him doing the dance with Roy Castle. Yes. It's fantastic. That's really, I love that little bit of footage. This was sent on the 27th of November in the year 2133.
Yes, the future.
So, David, hello. He says, hi, Nick, Benji and Shelley. Shelley's not here yet, but we won't bother telling her. Actually, I always say we will, but we just won't. We'll forget. I hope you are well. Yes, thank you. I continue to get great enjoyment out of the show. and is the first thing I listen to on a Saturday morning in my workshop. You must be a week behind then, like the opposite of a Patreon person who gets it a week ahead. He's the reverse. So what's the reverse of Patreon?
In fact, we owe him money.
No eon or I can't spell Patreon backwards. Every week I find myself wanting to join in the conversation, which goes to show how accessible the three of you have made this show to be. That's very nice.
Which is why you should head over to the Discord, where you can indeed join in on the conversation.
There you go. And also, funny thing is, David, when you join in the conversation, we can actually hear you. What did you say? Oh, very interesting.
Yes.
With that, I'm now compelled to join the conversation by writing an email. So I wrote an email to a friend of mine in Australia. We had a good chat. Oh, that's good. So to add my bit for the Daleks, I did watch this when it first aired.
Wow.
And it was quite literally the start of years of very bad nightmares. With that and time, I learned to control my nightmares and become a part of the story instead of the victim. That's really good. They went away not long after being able to do that, which was sad because I started to enjoy the stories and the journey they took me on. I would say that the most profound memory of Doctor Who was that of a sink plunger moving towards Barbara. I'm totally with you there. I mean, it's not a memory of mine. Well, it is because I remember it from... You know what I'm saying. I did not know it was a sink plunger at that time. It was utterly horrifying, sending cold chills up and down my spine. I fled the room to hide on the other side of the wall, with waking nightmares of plungers coming through the wall at me. From then on, I would watch Doctor Who from, behind the couch and under piles of blankets and pillows. For years, I would sit watching with uncontrollable shaking fits, but I was absolutely hooked on the show.
Wow.
As for the Doctor's lack of involvement and hindsight from years later, I saw him as not long out of Gallifrey and so inexperienced dealing with the outside universe. Well, of course, we didn't know he was from Gallifrey then. To me, he was opinionated, a bit cranky, and not as prepared for what lay outside Gallifrey as he thought he would be. He was taking a bit of time to adapt. May I suggest looking at older Australian sci-fi? There's plenty of awful to choose from out there. The second thing I listen to on a Saturday morning is the Jamie Bot podcast.
The Jamie Bot podcast.
The Jamie Bot podcast.
Patrick Troughton.
Many thanks, David Tremont. Sent from here and now.
Oh, well, that's good. Better than there and then. That's very profound, isn't it, as well? We got one here from Carl Scott from the Patreon, actually, saying, Carl Scott commented on your post saying, from what the conversation started out as to where it finished, I never saw it coming. But thoroughly interesting all the same, even though I felt like I was eavesdropping on a private video chat. Looking forward to more of the same. Do we know what that was referring to? As that sounds like an after-party comment, maybe.
Oh,
maybe. Who knows?
I have no idea what it's referring to. If you know, do write in and let us know. Here's a bit of interesting info from Michael House, writing from Tokyo in Japan. Technical note, Cinemascope on the cheap. This was sent on the 30th of November in the year 0937. Dear podcast hosts, in your discussion of the Peter Cushing Doctor Who movies, you alluded to the films having been shot in Cinemascope. Properly speaking, they were shot in Techniscope, which was a short-lived attempt to get something like Cinemascope on the cheap. It has the same horizontal width as Cinemascope, but only half the height. So it's now 2 vertical perforations per frame of Techniscope film stock versus 4 perforations per frame of Cinemascope film stock. I hope you're making a note of all this. The idea seems to have been that Techniscope film stock would look nearly as good as Cinemascope film stock while costing much less.
Makes sense.
The format originated in Italy, I almost said, in the 1960s and appears to have been mainly used in Europe. When scaled up to Cinemascope screen sizes, however, the difference in quality generally shows. Also of potential interest to the audience of this podcast, the Thunderbirds movies Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbirds 6 were shot in Techniscope as well. As an aside, Sergio Leone made a virtue of at least some of the quirks of Cinemascope. What? Techniscope.
Tinmanscope.
What am I talking about? At the time of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, he had determined the best use of the film stock to achieve tight close-ups. That became one of his trademarks. For those of you not watching the video, I just got very close to the camera. Be seeing you, Michael House, Tokyo, Japan. So there you go.
It's amazing how many sort of different scopes there were back in the day. I remember sometimes, you
Periscope,
can watch, you can watch all these sort of trailers, and they'll come up with, CinemaScope, Techniscope, Ultra Color. It's like Technicolor, Ultra Color, Super Color, Color.
Super
Ultra
duper whipper
mega
wobber.
fliggity biggity boo boo colour. There's so much of it. You think to yourself, blimey, just focus on one. But my personal belief of everything is that television should and always should be in 4.3 resolution because it's nicer and more comfortable.
Does that mean when you've got a CinemaScope film on television, you want to zoom into it and miss
I just want all the edges. Yeah, I don't care about the edges. I just want to. Television was much.
Well, that means you miss half the picture on a CinemaScope movie.
Yeah, well, it's a price to pay. I wouldn't watch a CinemaScope movie, would I? I'd be too busy watching.
Well, what about Doctor Who and the Daleks? That's Techniscope. That's really narrow. Do you miss the edges?
Well, no, because I don't have a 4:3.
My opinion of you is just plummeting.
I don't have a 4:3 television, but I was saying that things. If I was to choose an aspect ratio for things, I would choose 4:3.
I see.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or do you do that thing where they squash it?
Oh no, I never do that. But it's like Talking Pictures TV. First thing I do if I'm watching Talking Pictures TV is change the aspect ratio. Oh. So it's correct.
Oh, here comes Shelley.
I wonder what Shelley's favourite aspect ratio is.
Oh, okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning. How goes it?
Good afternoon.
No, let's not. Because I've got some good Loch Ness words ready.
Oh,
but I'm never invited, so. But that's all right.
One day.
Make a special exception one day. Are you impressed by how I wrote your name in the script?
What, with the big fancy font in the coloring?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
it's a big announcement, like a royal announcement. Lay the red
arrives.
Carpet down. We just need the trumpet players.
Yeah, I printed it. You can see it. Shelley Dean arrives.
Yeah. I can't show you mine because it's on a screen.
I'm old school, y'all.
Old
school.
Yeah.
Benji says that someone on Facebook says it's bad if we talk about Patron on.
No, I'll read out what was said because I think it's. Yeah. I can understand the reasoning behind it as well, and it's important to voice that. It'd be interesting to obviously, let me see.
They obviously don't intend to subscribe, this person, do they?
No, that was part of it, and it was purely down to that, which is kind of why I dived in. So it was Lance Harrington, who basically he posted a thing up and just said, it's a no for me for Patreon, and I just wanted to know why. So it was me that was talking. I just said, may I just ask why that might be? Because I was wondering if maybe there are things to offer, or we're offering something that's or we're not offering something. And the reply was really interesting. It says, I love your podcast. The chat between you all is like listening to a group of like-minded friends talking directly to me. I just worry that monetizing the podcast will mean that you talk about the Patreon all the time and plug the many tiers available. I know that you had to publicize it, but this week's podcast seemed to go on forever, and I zoned out about halfway. Although I don't need to chat on the Discord or watch the after show party. I do like the podcast as it is, in my ears once a week for about an hour. And I said, well, that's fair enough. I think that is perfectly fair.
I don't think we planned on going through every reward on every tier, every single podcast.
No, not at all.
So I get his. There was a moment where we did. Because it was me blabbering on, and I can imagine people are like, "Oh God, Shelley, shut up." But as far as monetizing the podcast, we're not taking away the fact that you can get the podcast for free still.
That's spot on, because there was a bit of confusion on Twitter about that as well.
I understand that. That makes total sense that you think, okay, well, we're moving over to Patreon and now you can only get the podcast if you pay us. No.
It'll always be free.
Right. It's we're adding on extra stuff if, keyword being if, people want the extra stuff.
Yeah.
We're not forcing, we're not twisting your arm. There's no gun to your head to say the only way you're going to hear us from now on is this. No. So,
No, it's free and it always will be. And if you want to join us for the extra bits, it's like the commentaries. We'll still continue to do commentaries on the regular podcast.
Yeah, those are just
bonus. But the bonus is if you're on the Patreon, you get extra access to a certain special commentaries. Vice versa with the after party. That's just us talking rubbish, to be honest.
Yeah,
literally. But if you like us talking rubbish, then it's spot on, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
We enjoy it anyway.
Yeah. We were doing it anyhow, and we figured, hey, let's record this.
So, Lance, we do hear you, and
Yes.
apologies for. I mean, the mentions of Patreon will get shorter and shorter as we go along, but at this early stage we're still sort of saying thank you to people. We will do a couple of shout outs for people who've been decided that they want to support us in that way, but gosh, we're grateful for anyone who listens, whether they do the Patreon thing or not. I'm really up.
And yeah, I'm just gonna say that I know exactly what he was talking about, that he droned out when we were going on and on about it, and that was because that was the day we launched.
Yes, very excited as well.
And that was it. And we're not, Lance, we're not going to do that. Trust me, because I'm not going to do that. Nobody
I've
wants
got
to
a whole
hear
lot of stuff written down here to say.
Yeah, but that's not. We went on for like 10 minutes going over every single thing on the tiers. And
yeah, we're in danger of doing that now, aren't we?
In which case,
Okay,
let's press
so-
on. So, what's on the menu, Shelley?
what's on the menu? The menu is we do have to do some shout outs.
Okie dokie, shout outs galore. Let's go.
We do have to do those. So if we want to do those now, or
We
if
want to. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You don't want me to say that we do TV dinners, audio, video, and PDF, early access to the podcast, monthly audio commentaries, also on video, after party audio podcasts, also on video, the Loch Ness Live Lounge, Inside the Telly, our high budget spectacular audio drama. You heard the first episode of it free last week in the Benji and Nick Show, and there are more in production, and there's more. Just go to patreon.com and search for the Benji and Nick Show. The end.
There we go. Look at
Done.
that. Compressed into
let's do
super.
Daleks Invasion Earth. So we're on 50
then
AD again.
We will go into
the
beauty of what was Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD.
Oh, so good. Did you enjoy it?
Well, I did and I didn't.
Oh no!
I'm leaving.
Once I tell you why I didn't, you will totally understand, and you will be in agreement with me on that particular point.
Oh dear.
As we discovered
Oh dear.
when we watched the first Peter Cushing movie, I'm a massive Susie Who fan.
Susie Who.
Susie Who being the character of Susan that was created for the movie, that changed her age, changed her necessity, why she's there, what she brings to the table. And I loved it, but was very, very disappointed in this one that she was delegated to just being an annoying kid that was, not really did anything. Everyone treated her like a kid. She didn't really offer much
she is a kid though.
Well, no, I know, but in the first movie, she was so smart and offered so much information and was helping them solve things. She was an active part of it. And this one, she was just there. And it really bugged me because they took away what made that character, for me, super duper special.
Well, I think that she was her importance in the first movie was accidental. I don't think they deliberately did that. I think it's just an accident of how it worked out, and it was a very happy, beautiful accident.
Yeah.
But they were, I mean, the standard sexist way of doing a movie in those days was that the women were, the women were totally the second fiddle, and the character of it's Louise, is it? Yeah. I barely remember her name because she is played by an extra. I mean, Jill Curzon was really a supporting artist. She never really ever played characters. She was just, in most of the films she did, unless I'm totally wrong, please correct me, but she was like a girl in a bikini. It was her role in films. Right. And, she's dubbed by someone else. I don't think she ever, I don't think her voice ever really featured in anything. They just employed her because they thought she was pretty. And she has nothing to do except be grabbed and run away and follow the lead of the male characters. And
why was the character of Barbara replaced?
Because Jenny Linden didn't want to do the movie.
Okay. All right, because I was very confused.
Jenny Linden was,
I was
just
like, who is this person? I didn't even know what her name was. I thought her name was Marie. And then like halfway through the movie, somebody said Louise. I went, oh, I was wrong. I thought her name was Marie. I even wrote it down as Marie.
And of course, without her, there was, you couldn't bring Ian in the same way. So
right.
Eyes then turned to the wonderful Bernard Cribbins, who steals the show in this. I think he's just so brilliant and fun. And again, though, it's the same thing as before. He was the comedy to this, in which he has lots of great routines as well. But I actually think he's very good because he's quite, he's a good character as well.
Yeah. Oh, I loved. I absolutely. So let's get past that part of what I. Because I was looking when you guys told me she was in the movie with, it's just Peter and her that were coming back for the second one. I was so excited, and then I was like, oh. Well, she's not really doing much. So,
she has no function in the plot, does she? Really?
So that kind of, gave it a little.
She's just annoying. She hides behind trees and jumps out at Wyler, and he goes, "Gosh, cut that out!
Cut that out!" But having said that, she does act as an integral point in which is to get the motivation to go to Bedfordshire.
She says grandfather wouldn't go. She's smart.
Well,
still.
She's
Anyway,
smart, but she didn't. There wasn't much that didn't guide anything. That just got them to where they were going.
Totally, she doesn't have any ideas. Yes,
right. But as a whole, I loved it in comparison. So I came into this one not having seen the television serial. So I went, for the other one, I saw the serial first and then I saw the movie. So then I was constantly doing the comparing. This one, I thought, I'm going to watch this and then I'll watch the serial. And going at it from that angle, it felt way more Doctor Who-y. That was a word I just created, and I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
It was much more Doctor Who-esque for me, this movie, than the other one. Probably because I was comparing so much the other one. But the Daleks were way scarier in this one. Way scarier. They felt like a monster. They felt like just the bad guys. In the other movie, not so much in the beginning. You just
they're slow and sluggish. Whereas this movie, you kind of feel like they'll come and get you.
Yeah,
they perfected it. They perfected the way these particular Daleks worked, and they look great. And the thing about these, as I've said before, is those guns spraying out, is it the CO2 sort of stuff? Yeah. They make a threat. A laser gun's nice and everything, and I do think that, especially in black and white, when you have the TV inverted colours, that looks particularly nasty. But there is something particularly horrible about these sort of spray guns, especially when they engulf that, the chap who broke his leg.
When they're all in different places around him, and then the gaseous stuff comes out and hits him from every angle. You're like, oh, he's not surviving that.
Yeah, poor bloke, but it's awesome.
That was the deal with this film, wasn't it? They were told that they had to kill a lot more people, didn't they? People wanted to see more people being killed by Daleks, yeah.
Oh, that's great. But that's added for me to the being scarier. They definitely felt more alien, more, when you've got the flying saucer, and it brought in more of the alien race aspect of it, I guess. Which I didn't feel so much in the first movie. But the way they filmed this, I loved. I loved the action scenes, the rebels fighting the Robo-Men and the Daleks when they were attacking
the Daleks! Attack the Daleks!
I thought, just the way it was shot and the way it felt, it didn't feel. Yeah, there's a lot of, phony hits and, things like that. Yeah. But I was into it. As I was watching it, I was like, yeah.
It doesn't feel like it was directed by the same person, does it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. But it
What did you
was.
think about the music to go with these sequences? Because this is a love-hate thing for a lot of people.
I recorded a little bit of, and it was the scene where Tom Campbell was deciding to join in and pretend to be the Robo-Man.
Yeah,
and it was
that bit.
that
together.
scene. And it starts out and it's just like and then as you're watching it, because I rewatched it a couple times, and it was just so fascinating that I was like, this whole moment is just slapstick.
Yes.
It felt so out of place.
Yes.
Because we're supposed to be sort of afraid of these Robo-Men that, oh my God, obviously I'm new to this thing, so we're seeing the beginnings of where the Cybermen came from. The Robo-Men.
Really?
What?
No. Different things, completely different things.
I disagree. I disagree immensely.
I suppose when you think of the original Robomen in the TV series, you can.
Well, if you look at the things that in this TV series, what they were wearing was very similar to what the Cybermen ended up with the silver. The one in the movie was just a cap. It looked like a
motorbike helmet, wasn't
like a
it?
Pikachu ball, the Pokemon ball with an antenna on it. But the turning humans
it's highly
into
advanced.
They turned humans into robots. That's a Cyberman. And look at the YouTube purists are like, no, you're wrong, Shelley. That's what I took from it.
Yeah, no, interesting. It is broadly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that they are Cybermen. They're Robo-Men.
Yeah, no, I completely
I'm just saying,
get them.
as I was watching it, I went, oh, I see here what we're doing. And
it's a common theme in science fiction, and certainly in Doctor Who's obsessed with it, like the controlling of human beings and turning them into the living dead, basically. Yeah.
So so the scene, getting back to what I was saying about the slapstick about it, was that scene just, it took it away for me that these are, humans that were supposed to be like, oh my God, they're
But
being
it's a
controlled.
kids' movie.
I know.
And
I
in
know
those days
why
that-
it was
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
why it was there. I
mean, my jaw hit the floor when I first saw this movie in the 70s, and that sequence happened. I died of embarrassment. I thought, what on earth is this?
I like it.
Eating dolly mixtures. I love it now for its nonsense value. They're
I
eating
wasn't
dolly
saying it was
mixtures. Why
bad.
are the Robomen being fed dolly mixtures? That's what the little sweeties.
Well, because probably the way that it had to be done, you needed something that was easily grabbable and
Well,
eaten
and
with your
smart
hands.
cinema owners would have sold those in the foyer afterwards, wouldn't they?
with their sugar
Absolutely.
puffs.
Yes. Did
They
you see
should
the
have been
Sugar
eating
Puffs
bowls of
advert?
sugar puffs.
Yeah, did you see the product placement?
Oh yeah.
Everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Took me years to cotton on to that.
Really, it's
Yeah.
absolutely everywhere, isn't it?
It was very, in like the first 2 minutes of it, there's like, when they're there, there's just a big thing hanging on the wall, sugar puffs. And it's just so out of place that my eye went there and went, oh, okay, product placement.
I never noticed it, as a kid. Never noticed it.
Oh, of course not. As a kid, you wouldn't.
No,
You
that's
don't. You
amazing.
don't think of the fact that advertisers are basically mind controlling us at all times with trying to get us
I
to
just
buy
like the
their
idea of-
products.
I just like the idea of Nick going home and saying, "Yeah, good film. Fancy some sugar puffs." Actually.
Well, I did. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I did buy sugar
then it
puffs
worked.
to get because there was a competition to get a Dalek suit.
Yes,
And I did make my mum buy sugar puffs, and she said, "You don't like them?" I said, "Well, I can learn to like them." I didn't win the competition. I was utterly gutted.
But did you learn to like them?
Well, I occasionally went back to them. In fact, do they still do them?
Yeah,
They're so sweet, though, aren't they?
they're very sweet. I wonder how they sort of survive.
I
in
wonder
the
what
the
they
modern
are in
market.
America. I wonder if they're sugar smacks. We
Sugar
have-
smacks.
Yeah,
They're the
yeah,
same
the
thing.
same
They're like
thing, yeah.
like puffed
Yeah.
corn with like a
Yeah.
caramel. Okay, then they're the
Yeah,
same.
that
thing.
is exactly they
Okay.
are sugar smacks.
Sweets
yeah.
jackets of sugar.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm eating bits of
Sugar puff.
orange peel. Is that disgusting?
Yeah.
Weird. It's weird.
Is it candied?
No, it's just orange peel.
That's
he
gross.
eats orange peel. Yes, it's disgusting, isn't it?
Wow. We've
Squish it
learned
down,
something
cover it
new.
with chemicals, and have it in a glass instead.
Squish it down. continue. So the music generally.
The music, yeah. Of course. I mean, you guys played it for me, but whenever that was a couple weeks ago, and and so I heard it, but seeing it, hearing it while I was watching it, it was just I felt like I was about to watch a James Bond movie because it was so like jazzy, yeah.
It's brilliant. It's good fun. It's one of those weird. It's like a very strange choice, like a really weird artistic choice.
It's a sci-fi movie. I don't get it just doesn't fit. It
doesn't at all. But now the two things are wedded together.
Right. And I did make a note that I wrote that every single episode of New Who needs to be reworked with this type of music. Every single one of them.
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic?
So, there's a job for you, Benji.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah,
amazing. Amazing.
I'm not a person who notices music like during a movie or a TV show unless it's glaringly in your face, out of place, or desperately needing your attention drawn to it. So I'm not watching this. I was so distracted by it.
Yes.
Just
it's in your face, isn't it? It's very much so.
Gosh.
It's a character in the film, isn't it? The music in this one. Yeah.
So, I mean, not to say I didn't enjoy it. I was enjoying because I was bopping along. You know, it kept me awake. It kept me, a little energized. So yeah, it was. I don't understand the choice. But
well, I'm sure. What other movies did he do? Bill, what's his name? Bill McGuffey or something.
Bill McGuffey did.
He would have been one of their standard composers who they put on productions, and they just handed it out.
Interestingly enough, there's not a huge sort of. I'll look on his IMDb in case it's just not on his. I mean, is that thing.
When you say there's not a huge? I mean, what did he do though? Tell us.
So he did Tom Gang. He did music directing for one episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus, which is quite good. Corruption. Harry Worth. He did the incidental music for a couple of those. Oh my god!
Yes, sort of. Sorry, that wasn't Harry Worth.
That's Tony Hancock.
That was Hancock.
There were lots of
Harry
Romeo.
Worth was a kind of cut price Tony Hancock.
Yeah, he was just posing in a window, wasn't he? He did Dixon of Dock Green. He did a couple of incidentals for that. Taxi TV series, 13 episodes. The Comedy Man, The Air Base. So that's about it, really. He didn't do an awful lot. He certainly didn't really do films.
Yes, I wonder what else he did with his music. Whether he was a jazz musician and had a band or something.
He was a pianist who went on to become a film composer and conductor. He made several television appearances, notably in Softly Softly as a pub pianist. So there we go.
Roll out the barrel.
He won a Novello Award in 1960. So he knows his stuff, but just he used to do stuff with the Kenny Baker Dozen. So interesting.
Yeah,
very, very, very interesting.
Back to Shelley.
Back to me. What else? Seeing Bernard Cribbins was just so much fun. I'm a New Who person, so he's Wilf to me, and to see him so young and just adorable. I liked his character because he reminded me of a cross between Yaz, because she's a police officer, and Graham, just that older guy, befuddled kind of thing. And so that's kind of how I was viewing him, just in terms of a character to make a comparison to New Who.
Yes.
But I loved that. I loved how he was brought into it. Just the idea, thinking the police box was an actual police box and getting swept away. Just
fun thing.
I love that. That was
thing,
such
really,
a neat, such a
It's incredible. It never
idea.
really happened in the series, did it?
No.
A policeman
Such an obvious thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it really totally is, because he's running and it's a police box, and but I like that they brought him back right before, and then he could go and be a hero. I would love to see the follow up of what happened when he got back to the police station and handed in these 3 criminals, and And if he did get promoted to whatever it was he was muttering while he was
Chief
driving
Inspector,
away.
Superintendent. Real,
But he was. I really enjoyed his character a lot more than the Ian character in the first one.
Yes.
So it was.
I think both of those actors, Roy Castle and Bernard Cribbins, I think they both got on very well with Peter Cushing, didn't they? I think they both appeared in other movies with Peter Cushing. I know Bernard Cribbins was with Peter Cushing. I keep saying Peter Cushing. This is the Peter Cushing podcast. Peter
We're going to get an email. Don't talk about Peter Cushing anymore.
keep thrusting Peter Cushing down our throats. They were both in a movie called She. You know She?
I've got She on DVD, yeah.
She on DVD.
She on DVD. Well, and of course, Roy Castle was in Dr. Terror's House of Horrors.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But have you ever seen She, Shelley?
No. Shelley has not seen She.
She.
Down by the seashore.
Do you know who Ursula Andress is?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was a big movie starring her
Gotcha.
as an eternal sort of Egyptian queen who's discovered by Peter Cushing and Bernard Cribbins, basically. So it's a sort of it's a much more adult movie. It's a sort of horror adventure movie, fantasy thing, and Bernard Cribbins and Peter Cushing worked brilliantly together in that. And it was made round about the same time, wasn't it, Benji?
60s?
Around that, yeah. Well, that's exactly what I'm looking at the moment. At the particular time. So, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors was 1965, and She would have been.
I think She is listed as 66 as well.
1965.
She is 1965.
Yeah.
So, so we did She before. Goodness me, Peter Cushing was a busy fellow, wasn't he?
He's done loads. I mean, he's just done so much, hasn't he? Really.
There's
I
another
suppose they used to
She in
shoot video films a lot
1984.
quicker in those days.
It was actually, yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a whammy. He did Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, She, The Skull, Doctor Who and the Daleks, The Island of Terror, and then Dalek Invasion of Earth, and then Frankenstein Created Woman, another good film.
Well, all in 1 year.
So 1965 was Terror's House of Horrors, She, The Skull, Doctor Who and the Daleks, and then the following year is The Island of Terror and Daleks Invasion of Earth. There we go.
Wow.
So yes,
Busy.
So yeah, he's. I wonder if he clearly wanted to get them both involved. Then if Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, Roy Castle. It's interesting how he worked with them both before immediately working with them afterwards.
Yeah, you wonder how much influence he had on the casting. I mean, we shall probably never know. Or shall we? Is there anyone out there who can tell us?
I suppose he would have recently been having a really good time with them. And somebody thought, yes, well, if we can't get Roy in, then we will have to get Bernard. Bernard would do it as well. And if we can't, we'll get the Skull in.
The Skull of the Marquis de Sade.
The Skull of the Marquis de Sade.
What, anything else, Shelley?
I'm trying to think if there was. So as a whole, apart from the Susie Who
Susie Who,
disappointment, I really enjoyed it. It kept me very well entertained, and I felt it was very well produced. I loved the sets, the bombed out looking buildings as they were running around, and I know that it was. They had more money for this production than they did for the first one.
Well, also they were using a lot of stock sets that were hanging around on the back lot, whereas, of course, everything for Doctor Who and the Daleks more or less had to be built from scratch, whereas this, they could just say, well, those streets were just standing street sets that happened to be on the back lot. Mm-hmm. Like Star Trek used to use a lot of, let's go to a planet that looks like 1950s gangster era because we've already got that, sort of thing.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this. I'm so glad I watched it, and I've not finished the serial. I'm like 3 episodes into it.
Oh wow, you're watching the TV serial?
Yeah. I needed to make the comparison.
It's so dull, isn't it?
It's very slow.
The calling voices are really terrible.
I mean, it's different to watch it the reversed this time.
Of course.
Having watched So, I definitely really enjoyed this. And I liked it better for reasons and worse for reasons than the first one.
What would you rate it out of exclamation marks?
I would give this a 4.
solid.
Yeah,
Solid choice.
yeah.
Solid.
I really,
That's-
because I really enjoyed it.
It's fair, isn't it? I'm giving it 5 out of madness.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I mean, of
Yeah,
course.
of
I'll
But
give it
four,
five.
four is actually
Yeah.
the proper mark for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a very intelligent thing to
Yeah.
say.
So I definitely.
I feel like for next week, we should go early with the next week thing. We should join in with you and rewatch Dalek Invasion of Earth. So we should do
Okay.
that for next week, Benji.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Love it.
What is
Good.
that?
That's the Dalek guns in it. They just get
Just like white noise, isn't it, really?
everything's a little bit lackluster.
Yeah.
Kill him.
They don't shout exterminate.
Oh, they don't.
No, they don't. I mean, you notice in this film, there's a bit where they go
yeah.
exterminate, exterminate.
Yeah.
You just get you don't get it very often, but you hear a couple. I think when they by the way, the story about the stuntman who falls down through the roof and then the Daleks shoot him. You know, when he tries to run away near the beginning, that guy actually did break I think he broke his ankle doing that.
Yeah. I
from
read
him-
that.
Oh, you've read.
Yeah,
Of course,
I
you've
saw
done
that,
the
'cause-
research. What am I thinking?
He came back, didn't he, when it was in the cast, and then
Just to do
just
that.
carried on.
There's
And-
a famous
and the
photograph
scene-
of him lying there with actually the cast on his foot. Yeah.
There was the scene where Tyler and who was Susie with? Tyler? I can't remember
Is it
anybody's
Tyler or
name.
Weiler?
Andrew Keir, isn't
Whoever
he?
the guy when they were driving the
Weiler?
van.
Yeah, is it Weiler, not Tyler?
I don't know.
I think it's
don't know.
Tyler in the TV show, but it's Weiler in the
Maybe
film
that's
for
my
some
confusion.
reason.
I don't know.
Yes,
And of
it's
course,
Weiler.
and
But-
Tom Campbell there's a Campbell in the TV series, but he's not the Campbell who's in the film. You see what I mean?
Yeah, because that character is not in the TV series.
No.
So,
There's no Jack Craddock, is there, as well?
but anyhow, the guy who when they're driving and
Yes, there is. What we're talking about. Sorry, carry on.
the Daleks are attacking them in the van.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he knocks, and the windshield shatters. He
Yeah.
he punches and it like cuts out a little hole. When
Yeah.
when they were shooting that scene, he like broke his wrist or he hurt himself
Oh,
really bad when
did
he
he?
was punching that hole in the windshield. I read that. I
didn't
can't
know that about poor
verify
Andrew
the
Keir.
fact, but yeah, that's what because I was reading about all the flubs and the stuff, and the one thing that really bothered me that somebody else pointed out was when again, don't know anyone's name, the guy in the wheelchair, when he gets killed, his legs are like flapping around like he's adjusting himself as he's dying. he's in a wheelchair, so things like that annoy me when it happens, because it's like there's somebody's job to make sure that stuff doesn't
they
happen.
shot those movies at a tremendous rate. Don't
Right.
forget, Peter Cushing had to get at least 10 movies in a year, so they had to, and there's a great podcast, and I can't remember what it's called. Well, a video series on YouTube, all about the Daleks, Benji. You know?
The Dalek, the Dalek website, isn't it? Dalek, like...
Well, they show you all the details of the different Daleks and how some of them are a bit bent because they were used in the car stunt, but then
Dalek
filmed
6388, isn't it?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Terry Nation Army.
Terry Nation Army, that's it. Watch one of those.
Okay.
Because they're massively detailed, and they work out which Daleks were where, and and this one obviously got hit by the van because it gets bent. You see the impact there, and it's slightly bent, but it's used in a scene from beforehand, and and they can tell you exactly where on the back lot all the sets were, and what other movies and TV series those bits.
So cool.
There's the bit where the little red van drives through a farmyard and the chickens go. Yeah,
They almost run over those chickens.
I know.
I
So
was
they
like,
would-
what is happening? And the chickens all got out of the way. But I'm like, how did they know those chickens were going to get out of the way?
They didn't, and they didn't.
And
care,
I was afraid
obviously.
for the chickens.
I
Sorry.
am now. When I first watched it, I didn't care, but we live in a much more caring world now.
Yes.
But that, for example, that little bit of farmhouse, which is basically meant to be Spain or something, it was used in an episode of The Prisoner to be part of the Wild West. So
How peculiar.
Yeah. Wow.
Should we do the where we're? So Benji, we're fives, aren't we? Next
You're
time we're
fives,
going to
I'm
do.
a four.
obviously.
So,
Should we do our shout outs?
Yes. So some of our tiers generously offer. We offer you the chance to have your name shouted out, and so that's what we're going to do.
Shall I start?
Absolutely.
From the Good Day tier, here's a huge shout out to 42nd Seagoon. Hello. Clearly a close relation of Neddy Seagoon from the classic radio series The Goons, I would surmise.
Well, of course, we've got Neil Allen here, a time traveller with 3 extra senses, which allows him to smell the passage of time through his ears.
That's a talent. Wow, that's talented. Kent Evenden. Sorry, Kent. Who some of you may know is the king of the third dimension to the left. Not
Yes,
the right,
he is,
to the
isn't he?
left.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. Hugh McIlroy. Is that how I'm pronouncing Hugh's name? Is that your name?
I would pronounce it Hugh McIlroy, yes.
Or McIlroy. Hugh, write in and let us know. We don't want to get this wrong. Apparently, he's a keen amateur dog painter.
Oh,
Now-
fantastic.
Does that mean he paints the dogs or he paints pictures of the dogs?
Well, let's put it this way. They run past his house pretty quickly.
Wow.
So perhaps he just paints amateur dogs, sort of dogs that aren't quite as good as regular dogs. I don't know.
Okay, well, then the final in our Good Day tier, we've got Sebastian April, who can be spotted in the misty mountaintops.
There we are. That's a reference to a quote from Romeo and Juliet that the Fourth Doctor makes to Sarah in Planet of Evil. He says, night's candles have burnt out and something's tiptoe on the misty mountaintops. Anyway.
He's gone mad. He's gone mad.
Well, that's where Sebastian is, so.
Carl Scott, known to his friends as Carl Scott.
Yes, of course. Not forgetting Nick Tedstone, who will forever be known as the person who most wanted to be known as Carl Scott.
Now, I'm just going to interrupt for a second and let you guys know we have now moved on to the goodness tier.
Yes, we have. Goodness gracious.
Sorry, yes.
So we're on the goodness tier with Carl and Nick, and now we also have Nathan Martin, who is quite a celeb in the world of antique nose hair removal kits.
Oh,
Wow,
superb.
amazing,
Some superb
amazing.
additions to the nose community there.
Amazing stuff.
Are you going to do one, Benji?
I thought it was you. I'll do one, yes.
I
certainly, yes.
thought it was you.
I didn't know what.
I don't-
Well, of course,
no,
we've got Debbie Carrimuller here, famous, of course, for their sub-Arctic bicycle bungee balancing. You imagine trying to say that 3 times round, eh?
Charles Coffin, who will almost literally buy anyone a packet of crisps.
Oh, brilliant.
And I get the one that I cannot even begin to say.
Aniron.
A Nyron Hunt, who frankly isn't always what you expect.
Yes, thank you for your generosity and support. Let us know what you require of us, and we'll do our best to fulfil your wildest and perhaps not so wildest dreams. I would mention that Nick Tedstone, I wrote that to say, who will forever remember as the person who most wanted to.
I assumed it was most wanted, referring to the previous thing.
No. Just, I wrote all, just for the avoidance of doubt, I wrote all those silly descriptions myself. That was just me being
Nick.
funny.
Just being Nick.
Should we see if Jamie Anderson's going to join
We could
us?
try it out. We could give it a rocking go.
He's going to be on here.
Oh, okay. Will he be able to hear us? No.
Oh, hold on a sec. If I can do
It's all
something.
going
about that.
pear-shaped.
Hello,
Such a
hello.
unique ring.
He's not going to answer, is he?
Why?
Oh, there he is.
Ah, Terence.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I just hold you up so the camera can see.
Oh, look at that.
Camera.
Hi, Jamie.
The trouble is, they
Which
can't-
service station are you at?
Which service station are you at?
I'm at Swindon Station, not a service station.
Oh, you're at the station. Where are you off to? Anywhere exciting?
Where are you off to?
Well, I'm off home now. I've been at a business meeting allowed by the current tier level here. So,
Oh, very exciting, very exciting. Any funny travel stories?
Any funny travel stories?
I had a really big sneeze on the M4.
Was it announced on the radio?
Was that picked up by the radio media? Did they announce that on the news?
Strangely, they haven't yet, but I'm sure it'll make the 6 o'clock news tonight. Yeah, that's about it, really. I stopped at what's it called? Junction 15 services, and there's lots of arrows directing you to the entrance, and I couldn't find it. So
I believe you're referring to.
Out the back of the kitchens.
Are you referring to the welcome break at Membry?
Membry, yes, that's exactly the one.
There we go. They've got a fab Burger King by the looks of it here. I'm just looking through this now at the wonderful things to offer at Membry.
Miraculously, you've just come onto my speakers, so now he can hear you.
Okay. Now, what makes that Burger King extra special than every other Burger King?
Because it's at Membry.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought maybe they had special something. I don't know.
Did we go there, Benji?
Potentially. I mean, we've been to, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, Jamie,
you see, so,
did you eat anything nice? Did you visit any of the eateries inside?
No, I just needed a wee.
Okay. Fair. Well, I mean, fair is foul and foul is fickle, as they say.
What? Well, this is possibly the best podcast in the history of the universe.
It certainly is.
It's so low tech. That's what I'm enjoying about it. Me just holding an iPad up.
Well, I'm enjoying.
Oh, interesting enough, Jamie.
What?
You actually went for a wee in style because you went for a wee in the service station that won Loo of the Year Awards 2018 Platinum Award.
I mean, I can really tell why they won that award. They have those propel air toilets, the ones where you have to close the lid before you can flush it.
Oh yeah, and they go.
And then it creates a vacuum that will be strong enough to suck out your intestines.
So yeah, you don't flush that type of toilet while you're sitting on it.
I mean, there's a safety feature that means you can't.
What kind of person flushes a toilet while they're still sitting on it?
Courtesy flush.
Sadist. A sadist.
On,
Yeah.
It's called a courtesy flush.
What's
if you're in a
that mean?
public restroom and you're moving your bowels,
Yes.
it's called having a courtesy flush. So
You cover the noise.
The idea is that it will make it smell less, I guess.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Jamie and I have discussed things like that in the past, but I don't feel we can go into any more detail.
A swift evacuation.
And we're back to
This is not the
poo,
right
ladies
time.
and gentlemen.
Yeah, it doesn't subjects sort of stay on the same level in this particular
The poo
podcast,
monkeys are
don't they?
here.
Are we recording a podcast, by the way? It sounds like we're just having a stupid childish chat.
Well, is there any difference? That's what I want to know.
Apparently not.
Well, Jamie, I feel we should let you go on your way before you and the listeners desert us.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It's been great to see you. I'm sorry you can only see me. I don't think you can see me at all, can you? Just
No, I
here.
can see.
He's seeing your
the
ceiling.
script to
You
your
can see the
podcast.
top of your iPad, what he can see.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you see what I see? Yeah.
It's very difficult with my eyesight. Well,
Yeah.
bye then. Take
Bye,
care.
See you later.
Jamie.
Thanks for having me. Happy podcasting. Bye.
Bye.
There he goes. Well, that
What a
was
man,
that
what a
was,
guy.
Who needs proper digital hookups?
Lance is going to be
Well,
asking us
quite.
to be talking about Patreon again.
So there we are. We know what we're
Yeah.
doing next week. Is it just
Yes.
time to get close to the microphone?
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this week's Benji and Nick show. From me, Benji B, it's good B.
And from me, Nick B, it's good B.
And for me, Shelley Dean, it's good day. Because I don't have a
Knocking
B
us.
in my last name.
Pressing stop now. Ka-chunk.